serve two, you'll need 50 grams, 2 ounces of plain flour, half a tablespoon of pure cocoa powder, 1 egg, 150 ml, that's 5 fluid ounces of milk, 2 medium-sized pears, approximately 4 tablespoons of sugar, depending on how sweet the pears are, a 2.5 centimetre, that's 1 inch, piece of cinnamon stick, some cold water, 50 grams, 2 ounces of good quality dark chocolate broken into small pieces, 25 grams, 1 ounce of butter cubed, 3 tablespoons of honey, approximately 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. The first thing you need to do is to make the batter for the pancakes. Now it's important just to mix the cocoa powder with the flour so that when you add it to the milk it all blends in evenly. I'm using just a normal balloon whisk because this batter doesn't really take much effort. You could use a hand whisk if you wanted to, an electric whisk. So once that's more or less mixed together, add it to the milk. I'm going to mix mine in a jug because it'll be easier to measure out the batter when I come to fry the pancakes. Add the egg and whisk together thoroughly. So once that's all well blended, you need to just set it aside whilst you prepare the pears. Now you could actually do this batter a couple of hours in advance. Just cover it with cling film and leave to stand at room temperature. So on with the pears. The pears need to be peeled, quartered and cored and then chopped into relatively small pieces, no larger than perhaps 1 centimetre, half an inch. And whilst I'm doing that, I just want to speak a little bit about the pears. The nice thing about this recipe is that the pears don't have to be overripe or even ripe. They're going to be cooked down to a soft pulp. So if you have any hard pears, then this is a great recipe to use them up. Also, if you are using slightly underripe pears, do remember that they won't be that sweet. So you may have to add a little more sugar than specified in the ingredients list at the beginning. Now do taste it, because I don't know about anyone else, but I'm fed up of having desserts that just aren't sweet. The whole point of a dessert is that it's supposed to be a sweet treat. If I wanted something that wasn't sweet, I'd have cheese and biscuits. So don't be afraid of adding, even if you have to add twice as much sugar in order to get the right sweetness. So once you've chopped your pears, place them in a small saucepan together with the sugar, cinnamon stick and just enough water to come about halfway up. Don't put too much water because you don't want the mixture to be too sloppy. And you need to bring that to simmering point over a medium heat. Once it's coming to simmering point, reduce the heat to low and continue to cook for about 5 minutes until very soft. And whilst they're cooking, you can get on with making your chocolate sauce. Now the chocolate sauce is a really simple thing to do. You basically put the chocolate broken up into very small pieces into a heat-proof bowl, and to it you add the butter and the honey. Now the only slightly difficult part about this, which isn't really, but it needs to be mentioned, is the size of the bowl and the pan which you're going to set this over, which contains the hot water. Make sure that your bowl sits on top of the pan but doesn't touch the bottom of it, and only just touches the water, which should be boiling. So I'm just boiling mine here. Just pop that there for a minute. Just as the water is coming to the boil, place the bowl over the pan and just leave it to melt for a little while. And once it starts to melt, you can stir it a little just to start incorporating the butter and honey into the chocolate. Once it's all started to melt, remove it from the heat and just stir it vigorously until the butter completely melts into the chocolate and it's all very well blended. Once that's done, you can just cover it with some cling film or some foil, but leave the bowl over the hot water so that it stays warm, because we're now going to make the pancakes and assemble the dish. So we're going to be using the chocolate sauce within 5 or 10 minutes. And there it is, lovely, smooth, rich, dark chocolate sauce. Before you go on to make your pancakes, just remove the cinnamon sticks from the pear and then mash it with a fork. You don't really want too smooth a puree, which is why I suggest that you use a fork. So once that's done, if there's an excess of water, you can just put it over a high heat just to drive some of that off. Because you don't want it too liquid. And then just set it aside, cover it with a lid whilst you make your pancakes. To make the pancakes, you're going to need a small frying pan, a fish slice or bendy spatula, and a teaspoon. Now, in order to get the perfect pancake, the pan should be heated until it's very hot, with just a small amount of oil in it, a teaspoon of oil, and when it's really hot, so that it can roll about the bottom of the pan really easily to coat it. And then the important thing is to pour off any excess oil. You really only want a coating, and that is including if you're using a non-stick pan. You still need the oil. The oil can be any vegetable oil, corn oil or sunflower oil. Don't use anything like olive oil, because it really doesn't add anything to the taste or the recipe. And it's a good idea to keep your oil in a heat-proof bowl, because when you pour this off, you don't want anything to be cracking. So pour off the excess into the little jug or into the little bowl, and then give your batter a quick whisk and pour in just enough to cover the base of the pan. Roll it around. You don't want it too thick. But these are pancakes, not crepes. And then it doesn't take long. After about 30 seconds to a minute, start loosening the edges. You can see that that's coming away already. Give it a shake. If you want to toss it, you can have a go. Otherwise, just turn it with the spatula or the fish slice and cook the other side for a maximum of 30 seconds. I'm just going to get a plate here to transfer it. It really does not take very long. And then transfer it to the plate, and you can fold it into quarters if you like, ready for serving. And you can keep it warm under a grill. And it's amazing how quickly, once you get your stride, that you can make quite a lot of pancakes. Just a few minutes. If you get too much of the pancake mixture in, just pour it out back into the jug and take a little bit off from the side. Once again, it won't take long to do this, so 30 seconds, flip it over and cook for another 15 to 30 seconds. But it'll be more like 15 seconds. Turn it over. Then you can fold it into quarters again. That's hot. Transfer to the plate, keep warm under the grill if you wish. To serve, place 3 pancakes on a plate. Place half of the pear mixture down the centre, just in a relatively neat line, and then using one of these squeezy bottles, which makes it very easy to decorate, put the chocolate sauce in and just drizzle over the top. I think we need a little bit more there. There. Delicious chocolate pear pancakes with a rich, dark chocolate sauce. You can be even more decadent and serve it with cream or vanilla ice cream.